So we're going to dive into some great drama that has flared up on the internet this week. Sam Altman and Elon Musk are taken into a huge public fight. Ironically, a lot of it's happening on X, the platform owned by Elon Musk. Sam starts making outlandish claims, and we see this feud hit the public airwaves. So I've got the load on here, and we're going to dig into a lot of different pieces today. So we've got a lot to go through. Let's dive. We've got this beginning. Now, Sam goes on to a podcast and, in my opinion, makes a total idiot of himself, showing how delusional he is. Now, I'm going to get this playing here for you. Give me 1 second. Now, we're going to show kind of how delusional he is here. So OpenAI revenue from Sama on the BG2 podcast. Sam, we're going to make more revenue than $13 billion in 2025. Brad, if you're doing revenue in excess of $100 billion in 2028, and Sam says, how about 2027, right? And I won't even play this clip for you because we've got a ton of different things to go over. And that's the first part, is he starts to get really defensive on some of this. And this is when, and every time Sam starts getting defensive, he starts throwing out untruths and just lying through his teeth. So this person goes on and says, apparently if you're Sam, how this $13 billion money loss for profit, non-for-profit, can support a $1.4 trillion of spend commitments. He gets very defensive and starts to attack non-existing short sellers. Cannot wait for OpenAI to be a public company. And such as Nadal is just sitting here laughing through the whole thing. He thinks this is great fun. Now, let me read this part to you here, and then I'll play this video for you. So how can OpenAI, with $13 billion in revenue, make $1.4 trillion of spend commitments? Sam Altman, quote, first of all, we're doing well more revenue than that. Second of all, Brad, if you want to sell your shares, I'll find you a buyer. Enough. I think there's a lot of people who would love to buy OpenAI shares. I think people who talk about, anyways. I think people who talk with a lot of breathless concern, but he says, we do plan for revenue to grow steeply. Okay, they do plan for revenue to grow steeply. That seems like a really straight. Revenue is growing steeply. So are they planning, or is it revenue? So you can already see he's like getting caught in the middle of even his own lies, and he catches himself. And so he's going on to take a lot of, this is the best bet we're making, and we're taking a risk along with that. A certain risk is that we don't have the compute. We will not be able to generate the revenue or make the models at this kind of scale. Now, Nadal jumps in and tries to say, let me just say one thing about both partner and investor. This is not a single business plan that I've seen from OpenAI that they haven't put into being. So Nadal comes in to try to defend him, because I think if you've ever been in that argument where you've been in a room and people are arguing and you're like, look, I'm just going to try to settle some tension here. I think that's what happens here. But let's kind of jump in and let's listen to this for a minute.
A company with $13 billion in revenues make $1.4 trillion of spend commitments. You know, and you've heard the criticism,
First
Sam.
of all, we're doing well more revenue than that. Second of all, Brad, if you want to sell your shares, I'll find.
We're doing well more revenue than that. No, they haven't. And I'm going to show you here, because I'm not making this up here.
Find you a buyer. If you I just enough. Like, you know, people are
enough.
Because I think there's a lot of people who would love to buy OpenAI shares. I don't think you would,
including myself. Including myself.
People who talk with a lot of like breathless concern about our compute stuff or whatever, that would be thrilled to buy shares. So I think we could sell,
I can know enough people that, don't worry, I can try to sell
your shares or anybody else's to some of the people who are making the most noise on Twitter, whatever, about this very quickly. We do plan for revenue to grow steeply. Revenue is growing.
Oh, wait, we do plan. We plan for revenue to grow. Oh, wait, no, actually, sorry, that sounds bad. It is growing steeply, which is also false.
Steeply, we are taking a forward bet that it's going to continue to grow.
Okay, they're taking a forward bet. They're not just taking a forward bet. So this is quote on Ron Paul, and this is not like, I'm not making this up here. It's Microsoft's latest filing with the SEC. Okay, so this is like with the SEC. You lie to them, you go to jail. Like, that's kind of how this works, right? Microsoft's latest official SEC earnings filed quietly revealed that OpenAI lost about $1.5 billion in a single quarter, based on how Microsoft accounts for its 27% ownership stake. For its own OpenAI investment, Microsoft uses what's called equity method accounting, which means it directly reports its shares of OpenAI profit or loss in its own books. So when Microsoft said it took a $3.1 billion hit due to its own OpenAI investment, that means OpenAI itself lost about $11.5 billion, because Microsoft's share, 27% of that total, is $33.1 billion. The filing also disclosed that Microsoft has now funded $11.6 billion of its $13 billion total commitment to OpenAI, confirming nearly all of its promised money has been delivered. Now, $3.1 billion is not an amount for Microsoft, as it can absorb that hit easily, since it made $27 billion of net income in last quarter. See, Microsoft actually makes money. They're a real company. They actually make real money. See, that's the problem here. And so another report here, Microsoft's latest SEC filing exposed that OpenAI lost around $11.5 billion last quarter. They lost $11.5 billion in a quarter. based on this ownership. Finally confirmed that Microsoft has funded 11.6, so it's 13, so it's almost done, like funding it, and it will have its number. Now, this is a report from the Register. So if you wanted to see this, this is where you go find it. And they break this down, right? We have an investment in OpenAI Global. This is according to their earnings report that they filed with the SEC. Again, people, you lie about this is when you go to jail. So, see, Sam seems to somehow be skirting this, and I don't even know how. See, Microsoft's not. They really like their, being a public company and stuff. We have an investment of OpenAI Global and have made a total funding of $13 billion, of which 11.6 has been funded as of September, the investment account front. But then on that, they stated that they had taken a loss. Current year net income and diluted EPS were negatively impacted by net losses from investment in OpenAI, which results in a decrease in net income and diluted EPS of $3.1 billion and respectively prior year net income. So they're still losing money. They are losing money so fast. So if Microsoft owns 27% of OpenAI, it stands to reason under equity accounting here that it bears 27% of losses. Microsoft's admission that it shaved $3.1 billion off its net income to account for its shares of OpenAI therefore suggests OpenAI lost about $11.5 billion during the quarter. Microsoft declined to comment beyond confirming that the $3.1 billion loss this year referred to Microsoft's current fiscal year, which started July 1st, not the calendar year. So therefore, that quarterly loss, not a 9-month loss. So that means that OpenAI is hemorrhaging money. Hemorrhaging. Now, if he says that they're going to have a $13 billion of gross and they've already lost 11.5 in a quarter, this does not bode well. Now, let's dive into this report from SimilarWeb here, right? Because this is actually what's really going on, right, with what's going on here. Because see, according to recent filing, so that's according to recent filing, Microsoft secured their shares of OpenAI, and it will only make at most $10 billion this year because so far, OpenAI has only gross profited $4.3 billion, but we actually see the net loss going there. So, actually, before we jump into the Open Web here report, let me just kind of talk a little bit more about this because, according to the report, citing financial disclosures shared with shareholders and tied to Microsoft's recent Q1 of which again started in July, fiscal year 26 earnings filed. Following the October 28th restructuring deal securing Microsoft's 27% stake in OpenAI, OpenAI generated $4.3 billion in revenue during the first half of 2025. That's January to June. This marks a 16% increase from its full year of 2024 revenue of $3.7 billion. So yeah, they're increasing revenue at about $500 million a year, but they're already committing to spend $1.4 trillion per year. OpenAI is on track for approximately $13 billion in full year 2025 revenue, based on its $13 billion annualized run rate as of mid-October. But no later quarterly breakdowns or Q3 are detailed in the filings or related disclosures. The company's high costs, including a reported $12 billion quarterly loss in Q3 2025, highlight ongoing investments in infrastructure amid rapid growth. Now, what they're doing here is they're spending a ridiculous amount of money with this hope that they're going to get to AGI. And we've gone through these SEC filings here to show that they're not making this up, right? So this is the problem. Now, so according to this, for Sam to say that they're going to be at $100 billion in 2027 is frankly delusional. He is absolutely delusional, and he is good at lying to people. And if you think I'm making this up, this isn't just my opinion. People close to him are saying the same thing. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Because let's look at what an independent study is showing that is going on. So this is data ending 10/10, right? This is generative AI sites by category. So this is SimilarWeb, who is tracking AI web traffic, right? Overall, global AI traffic has totally flatlined. So we are seeing a pure flatlining happening here on total global AI. They're not gaining new customers. Overall, there's not more people coming. Those who have come to AI have pretty much come. We're seeing from April to October, maybe a 3% growth here, right? Very, very small amount of growth that they're seeing here. Now, this is the part that should absolutely terrify and proves that what Sam is showing here is totally delusional. Look at the blue, OpenAI, completely flatlined. If anything, they've decreased their share. Google is increasing. Others are increasing. And I'm going to show you some other parts here that is going to absolutely totally debunk these things that Sam's saying here. So general AI traffic shares have flatlined or gone down for OpenAI. And there's more and more. In the code space, OpenAI is not even on the charts. right? They're, when it comes to code, DevOps and code completion, they are nowhere even in this. So Codex was released and it's not even registering in the chart. So we can see that overall here, they, when it comes to character AI, they're not doing anything. When it comes to design generation, not even in the play here, right? They are nowhere near this. And so Sam's claims here that they're going to be suddenly running to $100 billion of revenue in 2027 is absolutely delusional. Now, let me go to one more thing here too, because this is another part. I'm not the only one who's saying this, right? Because this is going to get even juicier as we go. So a newly released deposition from Ilya Sutskever, I think is how you say this, reveals that Anthropic once considered merging with OpenAI after Sam Altman's 2023 firing, an idea that could have put Anthropic CEO Dario Amati in charge of OpenAI. Sutskever opposed the plan, citing practical and governance obstacles, while his memo accuses Altman of, quote, a consistent pattern of lying. Look, guys, this is like a deposition, a legal deposition by somebody who has worked very closely with Sam Altman. A consistent pattern of lying and internal manipulation. Such a deal would have potentially, this is a quote, such a deal would have potentially placed Anthropic CEO Dario Amati at the helm of OpenAI. He and his sister both left senior roles at OpenAI in 2020 over differences in how to run an AI startup, given the pace of technology's advances and its potential risks. The deposition gives a rare window into how Altman's top lieutenants and rival maneuvered in the tumultuous days before and after his firings and subsequent rehiring. Now, let's dive in here, because if you think Elon's going to be quiet on this, think again. So Elon jumps all over this. 52 pages is a lot. And he talks on these 52 pages. And essentially, over 52 pages of his top lieutenants saying that Ilya plotted over a year with Mara to remove Sam. They said he has a consistent pattern of lying. And see, that's the problem here with Sam. Basically, if Sam's talking, that he's not telling the truth, right? He's lying if he's talking. And that's, so it's funny when on this podcast recently, he gets totally defensive because they've caught him in the middle of his lies, right? Now, let's dive into this one here, because I'm gonna play this here for you. So Elon exposes OpenAI. He goes on to All In podcast. OpenAI exec betrayed the founding mission as soon as there was revenue and profits to be had. So if it started as a for-profit, Elon would own 50% of the company. So this is a quote from, there's a mountain of evidence that shows that OpenAI was created as an open source nonprofit. That's the exact description in the incorporation documents. They have completely violated that. And they tried to change the definition of OpenAI to mean open to everyone instead of open source, even though it's also always meant to be open source. I came up with the name. This is Elon speaking. That's how I know what the name means. I mean, essentially, since I came up with the idea for the company, named it, provided the A, B, and C round of funding, recruited the critical personnel, and told them everything I know. If it had been a commercial corporation, I'd own probably half the company. It was totally my discretion. I could have done that, but I created it as an open source nonprofit for the world. Shamath, do you think that the right thing to do is to take the models and just open source them? Elon, yeah, I think it's what it was created to do, so it should. Trying to use any of the recent so-called OpenAI open source models, they don't work. They open sourced a broken, non-working version of their models as a fig leaf. I mean, do you know anyone who's running open source models? Jason, no. Elon, exactly. Now, the thing about this here is that this isn't just a public feud. There's actually something going on here under the cover. I think Elon can ultimately cause a ton of damage. So the post here features a clip from an interview with Elon Musk on the All In podcast, where he discusses OpenAI's alleged betrayal of its original mission. Musk claims he co-founded OpenAI as an open source nonprofit entity focused on benefiting humanity, providing initial funding, recruiting key personalities, and even naming it. He argues that as soon as profits became possible, executives like Sam Altman shifted towards a closed source for-profit model, essentially becoming a subsidiary of Microsoft. Musk notes that if OpenAI had started as a for-profit company, he would likely own about 50% of it. He criticizes their open source releases as non-functional and calls for them to truly open source their models to align with following intent. Now, Elon Musk filed the lawsuit against OpenAI, Sam Altman, and others in March of 2024, alleging breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, and unfair business practices. The core claim is that OpenAI abandoned its nonprofit open source mission by pursuing profits and partnering closely with Microsoft, which has invested billions and gained executive rights to some technologies. Now, Musk seeks to enforce that he describes the founding agreement preventing further commercialization and requiring transparency. As of November 2025, the case is ongoing, with an expedited trial scheduled for this fall, after Musk lost an initial injunction bid but advanced on other fronts. Legal experts note that the case could expose internal documents, potentially damaging OpenAI's reputation, even if Musk doesn't fully win. So a win for Musk would likely hinge on the court validating its interpretation of OpenAI's founding documents and agreements, which emphasize a non-profit structure for profit benefits. So the potential outcome could include enforced an OpenAI of all models. So it could make it open source all of its models. The court could mandate this. That could also cause a reverse of the nonprofit status or unwinding its restructuring. OpenAI's recent shift to a for-profit model, currently valued at around $157 billion, even though Sam raised money at $500 billion, right? This could be reversed or blocked, forcing it to back into a research-focused nonprofit without profit motives. This might invalidate deals with investors like Microsoft, who holds exclusive IP rights and requires returning funding or compensating stakeholders, which would cause them to force into bankruptcy. Some analysis suggests this could trigger a cascade of events, including financial penalties or dissolution of the current structure. Now, there could also be equity or compensation for Elon Musk. If the court rules that OpenAI should have been treated as for-profit from the outset, given its evolution, Musk could be awarded a significant stake, potentially up to 50%, based on his contributions in funding, ideation, and recruitment. This might redirect value towards entities like Tesla or xAI, though it's speculative and depends on proving this claim. Now, there's also broader legal and regulatory scrutiny. A victory could set precedent for AI governance, encouraging more lawsuits against closed AI systems and pushing for greater transparency. It might also expose internal communications, highlighted as mission creep and affecting public trust in OpenAI. So if Musk prevails, OpenAI could face existential challenges. The financial impact. Valued at over $150 billion, the company might see its market cap plummet if forced to open source tech or unwind the Microsoft deal. Investors could pull out, and ongoing funding, which is a lot of it is debt, could lead to layoffs, reduced R&D, and even bankruptcy if the revenue dried up. It also would run into operational challenges. Reverting to a nonprofit status would shift focus from commercialization to pure research, potentially slowing innovation but democratizing AI access. Leadership like Sam Altman might face removal or restrictions, and the company could lose talent to competitors like xAI. There also could be industry ripple effects. A win could accelerate OpenAI development globally, benefiting humanity as Musk intends, but it might also fragment the field, making it harder for any single entity to lead to safe ethics. So overall, while Musk's odds are debated, right, there's a lot of people with a lot of different opinions. What a win would realign OpenAI towards its roots, potentially at a great cost to its current form. The case highlights tensions in OpenAI profit and public good, and we're not hearing a lot about this, but this is going to be big. So I'm curious so either way, this is going to be a super fun fight to keep watching. Of course, I'm waiting to watch Sam Altman and OpenAI because I'm not a huge fan of theirs. Sam's smug demeanor will be interesting to watch when he fails. Now, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to have a great discussion. So make sure you leave a comment down below and make sure to like and subscribe. Here at Starter Pack, we'd love to train software developers as well as build custom software solutions for companies. So reach out today because we'd love to help you. Hit the link down below and check out starterpack.com/Spencer. And here's some information about our services.
Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment. Perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer.